Welcome to the Finding the Magic podcast, where books come alive. I'm Tricia Copeland, a fiction author and host of this show. If you love books, finding great reads, and hearing about the story behind the story directly from the authors, this is the place for you. Whether you like fantasy, science fiction, dystopian, or romance titles, I think you'll find something to love in my playlist. Listen in to discover something magical about a book or two today. Welcome, Kelly.
Thank you, Tricia. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you for being here today. We have Kelly O'Hearn, author of the Arcanum fantasy series. It's a little bit of a different series, and I'm super intrigued. Can't wait to jump in and talk about this taken from tarot readings, correct?
Yes, I used my tarot cards, which is my primary job and career, to channel past lives, my past lives.
Your past. So this is a story of your past lives?
Well, is it like, well, I won't know probably until I die, but it was channeled through the lens of where my soul has been in its most recent incarnations. Yes.
Okay, so tell me like physically, step by step, how that works when you're writing a book this way.
So it is a very different kind of way of doing it than traditionally is done, because when I first channeled these past lives, I have about 40 hours of recorded video of me doing it. And I created and found out what this was. I had no intention of writing a book. That was never part of the plan. I was doing it out of my own curiosity and a way to pass time in 2020 when we were all at home. But the stories were so rich and they were so filled with just, just the hero's journey, really. And I was like, all right, you know what? Let me make this into a treatment to maybe sell to a streaming network, because it would be a great series because it's all different civilizations all throughout history. And they all said to me, I mean, I got a lot of good feedback, but they were all like, you need a novel. And Trisha, I was just really afraid. I'm not a writer. I've never taken a writing class, all these things. But long story short, I sat down and wrote the first novel. So in order to write it, because I had all of the recorded content and it was channeled through the lens of my soul. So as I was creating it, I had a visceral somatic experience to what the stories were. So the story lives inside of me. So to translate the story from my knowing onto paper isn't all that hard for me.
Okay. So you had it sounds like you had different past lives in different time periods, right? So are you like each book is going to be a different past life?
Correct. So in
Okay.
book one, which came out in the summer of 2024, it's called In the Temple Shadows. That's the Egyptian past life in ancient Egypt. In book two, which just came out this summer, that's the past life in Renaissance France. But the common thread that weaves all of the novels together is the current lifetime. So that the current lifetime stays in every novel. It's a sequential order, which is why my series has to be read in order.
Right. That makes sense.
But it's juxtaposed against one complete past life.
Okay, so I did read a little bit of the blurb. Sarah,
Yeah.
your main character in the first book, she has her 40th birthday,
Yes.
and those can be kind of hard from my experience. Although I'm the person that at 39 is like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be 40. And at 49, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be 50. And then when it comes, I'm like, oh, whatever, I was there last year. But anyway,
I love
aside, tell me about Sarah.
So Sarah is this really, really intriguing woman that I think a lot of women at certain stages in life will relate to. She is the CEO and founder of a very successful international fragrance company, which is called Arcanum.
Okay.
And she's like the primary breadwinner in her family, but her husband has a successful job as well. They have two children, twins, a boy and a girl. They live in New York City. And she's just kind of going through the motions. Life has become very hamster wheel, as it can. And there's nothing wrong with that in and of itself. but she's really lost herself along the way. And so what happens is through this meeting of this soulmate, because you have to understand something. In most series, you have characters, right? The same characters, like in Star Wars, Luke and Leia, right? It was always Luke and Leia in the first three movies. In my series, you have the same souls.
Okay.
So there are 5 souls that always incarnate together in these lives, in all in service of helping Sarah to finally embrace true love. But first, that has to come through love of herself before she can embrace the love of her soulmate. So, Sarah, though, you see her, the struggle she has of wanting to do what's right and expected and programmed into her versus what she knows is her truth. And that's her struggle.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I'm getting so many good feels about that. There's so many layers to this. I mean, you have the layer of her, I'm assuming, remembering and traveling back. How does she experience traveling back through time? Does she have dreams, or how does that come out?
Well, there's dreams. She works with a like a psychic tarot card reader type who's one of the souls. She has, have you ever had like such a profound sense of deja vu from a person or a place before in your life, Trisha?
No, I've had a dream like that keeps repeating through my life. It's not a very fun dream, but
Yeah.
that is something, yeah, maybe that's a touchstone
Yeah.
for me or something, right?
So you can, so some, like I've had a breakthrough in a location where I arrived at a city overseas that I'd never been to before, but I knew everything about the city. Like I knew exactly how to get around. I knew where everything was. It was just one of those things. So throughout the series, Sarah has these moments of this clarity of the possibility of this past life. But don't forget, like she's human. So, and she's in 2025 New York City, so she's also a skeptic. Right. She's like, it's not like all of a sudden she sees her soulmate and there's a chorus of heavenly angels and all of a sudden it all falls into place and she remembers everything. No, we have moments of clarity and then we slip right back into doubt and like, oh no, I must be, I must be nuts. I must be seeing things, that kind of thing.
Right. Well, and if she has this life with her husband and her kids, like it's, I mean, that would take a lot to just like drop all of that and say, oh, yes, you're my soulmate. I belong with you. And let's go
Exactly.
do
Yeah.
it.
You just don't you don't drop a husband and kids. Yeah. I mean,
Right.
maybe some people do, but
Yeah.
not my heroine. No way.
Right. In a decent world. Let's not do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. And so she's experiencing this past life through this tarot reader and dreams and other things like that then.
Yeah, because what she's trying to figure out is why was I so drawn to this human being? Like she's not even using the words past life at first. She's just trying to figure out why did I feel this incredible connection to this individual? And why am I having like this sense that I'm missing out on something, that I'm desiring something that she was starting to have what I call the proverbial call of the soul, where your soul kind of starts to scratch at the door of your mind and to kind of tell you like there's more you're supposed to be doing, there's more you're supposed to be feeling. But oftentimes we don't want to feel that because in order to get there, you have to go through perhaps something a little challenging.
Right. You kind of have
And
to
I
mess
get
with your
it.
life a little bit.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah.
So that's Sarah. So we will share in the 4 books, what does she choose? And the tagline of the series is sometimes happily ever after takes more than one lifetime.
Oh, neat.
So
Okay, so now there's 2 books out, correct?
now there's 2 books, yes.
Okay. And the second book is Whispers in the Forest. And where is that set? Well, where is the alternate reality, I guess?
So the past life is in Renaissance France.
Okay.
And you continue to see Sarah and the 4 other main characters, main souls in New York City, because that's in linear sequence. But in Renaissance France, it's more the theme of freedom. The first book was more because you're introducing everybody, you're just kind of introducing the whole framework of the series. But that had more to do just with like the power to make decisions and the power to choose for yourself. The second book is more about freedom and what does that mean for an individual? Can, to be able to embody the energy of freedom while still showing up for your life the way it is. It's,
Oh, that would be, yeah, that would be hard to juggle and decide, right?
most people think it is, but it's really not. It's just a shift in perspective. But most people believe it has to be, okay, I have to give up this in order to have that. And I get that, but that's not actually the truth of the situation.
Interesting. Those are some really good like take home things when you're, especially if you're feeling stuck or feeling like, oh, I have this thing over here I want, and this thing I maybe don't want. And
Right.
how do you balance all those things, right?
Yeah. 100%. And because, and don't get me wrong. This is a work of fiction. It's a really fun read. It's a great beach read. It's a great read on an airplane. Like, this isn't going for a Pulitzer Prize. It's not that kind of book.
No.
But, well, it's not. That's not my personality. But with the work that I primarily do, I'm not an author primarily. I'm a tarot card reader primarily, and I work with people all over the world in order to help them to how to figure out to shift their perspective and feel better, but not necessarily changing anything in their life. But by doing so, you get different results.
Right.
Yeah.
So what comes next in the series? Where are we going? Can you tell me where we're going next?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So I'm currently writing book 3, and that takes place in the Vatican, in Vatican City, in the early 1500s, kind of when the church has the Spanish Inquisition going on. There's a lot of beauty happening, like the Vatican's being renovated. St. Peter's Basilica is being built. It was in like 1512 that Michelangelo started the Sistine Chapel. So there's a lot of inspiration in terms of art and beauty and the grandeur of the church. But behind all of that was this kind of darker chapter in history of what the church did in the name of God, and the killings and the trials and the judgments and that inquisitor whole archetype. So it shows that kind of shadow period in the Vatican.
Yeah, and so you experienced a lot of this through your own tarot experience. Did you also do a lot of research on like the history and everything that was going on in the time periods?
Yeah, so the channeling showed me, like, I knew it was a dark time in the church, and I could tell from the way it was feeling and just the how it was coming through in terms of language and clothing. You can get kind of a feel for a time in history. But then I then have to do actual research and figure out, okay, where does this actually fit? How does this make sense? And this just slotted in so perfectly, so perfectly.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And so are the plots of the stories laid out by, what happened to your soul during that period? Or did you kind of have to create a plot for those characters in that time?
Yeah, that's such a good question. It's because it's both. There was definitely in my channelings a beginning, a middle, and an end. So there was a plot. I went through the whole thing. But of course, when you go to translate that to writing a story, you have to allow for a pivot here, changing it there. You have to enhance some things. You have to delete some things. So it has evolved as the stories have been written in order to make it just a better read.
Right. And
Yeah.
so I'm the same way. Like I was not a writer before I was a technical writer, but I wasn't a fiction writer before I started writing. So my first books were very much like a screenplay or something, just lots of dialogue and
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was doing. But anyway, so I took a lot of courses. So did you take courses on plot and character development and or did you like read about how to do that so your story like had the right like storyline and plot line and things like that?
No.
Or it came to you naturally,
No,
maybe.
I hired someone to help me.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
good.
I'm very much of a collaborator. I don't like
Mhm.
to work alone in a vacuum personally. It's just not. So I have a collaborator, Kate Fogarty, who is what I call my co-writer. I create the story. I do a lot of the writing, and then because she's a professional writer, she takes it and she'll say, okay, you know what, I have to shift this around a little bit because there's not enough character development to explain what's going on. or the dialogue is, whatever. So
Right. Too much
it's,
dialogue, too little dialogue.
yeah,
Need
exactly.
something
So
more
it's a
exciting
really,
here.
totally. So it's such a joyous process for me because it's just so much fun to do it with somebody.
Yeah, that is fun. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I think some of my favorite things are when my like early readers come back and say, "Oh, well, I like this," or "I didn't like this." And one of the funnest projects I did was with an illustrator. We kind of developed the story together as he was doing illustrations.
Yeah. See, that must have been so much fun.
It was a lot of fun.
I love that.
And how many books do you have planned for the series?
Well, originally I was planning on 6, because I originally channeled 8 past lives, so I thought 6, but I've decided to just do 4.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm about to turn 59. I'd like to be done with this series by the time I'm for my 61st birthday. And I'm tired, right? Like it's a lot of work to write books and run a full-time business.
I was gonna say, yeah.
So I think, 4 is a really, really robust series. And I'm proud to even just have 1 book in the world, much less 2. So 4 will be great, and I can tell the story in 4 for sure. The readers miss out on 2 of the past lives, but
Oh, that's interesting. Well, and too, like you said, you would love to see this as a Netflix series. I mean, I'm
yes.
getting all kind of like Outlander vibes here.
Oh, it is
Um,
because the paranormal aspect for sure.
right. So, so if it is picked up by Netflix or HBO or another company, then they could add in those other lives too and, make them 8 different seasons if they
Yeah.
wanted to.
Yeah, I have 4 other past lives that will not even be touched upon in the novels. So that's exactly right. And that's my thinking. Four novels is enough to have it shopped again, to give people a really good idea of what the story is and how it could be a cinematic experience.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I haven't read the Outlander books. I have to admit that. I have a friend who loved every one of them and keeps saying, you have to read them, you have to read them.
I loved the books. I ate them up when they
Mm,
first came out. I remember that. But I don't think I read all of them. I think I read the first 4.
oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I sometimes series can get long when they get over 4 or 5 books. And
Yeah.
it
The
depends on
only
what it
really,
is.
really long series I've read over and over and over is Harry Potter.
Oh,
I think I've read that series like 5 times.
fun.
I love it.
And so how did you, I mean, you say it's like a little bit paranormal fantasy. How did you come up with the mechanism to do that? Or do you want to tell us that? Is that giving too much away?
In terms of what do you mean
How
the
she goes
mechanism?
back or how she is she just remembering or is she actually physically
Well, no,
going
and
back?
it's not really a remembering because we don't really remember our past lives. We can in hypnosis. So there is some hypnosis scenes in there. She has a recognition of an object that gives her like a real jolt, which she realizes was a past life remembering. Um, but it's the resolution doesn't come through the mechanism of the past life. The past life serves as a compelling uh, you know, yeah, she's living the life she's living and why these people are in it. Like, so you see how her best friend in New York City has always served in a really important role in her past lives. Sometimes as a a very much of an overlord, bossy guy, but just a really important soul. So it's just kind of a compelling, way to tell a story. And maybe maybe some readers will be like, oh my God, I wonder if I've ever had a past life with my husband or my wife or my child or my best friend, Clarissa or whatever. Because there's certain people that the minute you meet them and you're so drawn to them and you don't know why, or those people that you pick right back up with after not seeing them for 5, 10 years. And it's like, God, I feel like I saw you yesterday. Why is that?
Yeah, it's really interesting that, yeah, and the people that you pick for your friends or who become friends, Yeah, just and it's not the same for everybody, right? So
no, and not every one of them is perhaps a past life soulmate, but you tend to know it when they are. So there's never a time where Sarah actually like relives a past life.
okay.
Because that just doesn't really happen in life. I haven't taken it that far. Because she's a very, she's a fragrance guru. She's kind of a scientist. So
Okay.
all of this, psychic, tarot, spiritual woo is a new thing for her, so, she gets there in the end, she embraces it fully, but, she doesn't have a past life breakthrough like that.
Okay. So that makes it like, I guess, less fantasy paranormal. It makes it more like true to life. Like this is her experiences learning about her past life more.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. Because I met one person I haven't talked to that many people who have said they had these past lives, but I met this one person one time and she was very interesting to talk to. So it's kind of neat.
Yeah, there's some people that I know have had great breakthroughs in healing some mental health issues and stuff through past life hypnosis. I've never done it, but there's an incredible book called Many Lives, Many Masters. It's like the preeminent book on past life hypnosis of this doctor and his case study with his actual patient, and he healed her through past life hypnosis. But that's really the only way that I know of that people can consistently access their past lives is through hypnosis.
Through hypnosis, interesting. But it sounds like, your past lives were revealed through these channeling of the Terra, and it was more like a feeling or an overwhelming, and like you said, visiting the city, and you just knew where to go. That sounds. How does that happen, right?
Exactly. And I was at the time, I was like 19 or 20 years old. So I chalked it up to deja vu, right? Because it was just so overwhelming. And then I didn't really think anything of it after that. You just get about to the art, just get about to your day. But it always kind of was like, why do I know this city so well? I never forgot it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is super fun. Well, Kelly, tell us where we can find you in your book.
Oh, yes. Thank you. So my books are available on Amazon. Both books are for sale there on that platform. I have a website called arcanumtheseries.com, and all the information you need to know, as well as how to contact me, is on that website, my email. And then on social media, it's Kelly O'Hearn Author on Instagram and TikTok.
Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank
and I hope
Tricia.
You'll come back when you release your next book, because I'm excited to see what Sarah is digging. Well, you said the Vatican is the third book, and can you tell us what's the fourth book, or which one?
The fourth book is Denmark in like the 1300s.
Oh, okay.
1400s. Yeah.
Interesting. Oh, I like Viking. I guess what's that kind of
it's
the Viking
a little post-Viking, but
post-Viking.
Okay. That era, it's a great part of history.
Okay, so we get to learn a little history too, so that's a bonus.
Yeah, you do. It's fun.
Well, thank you very much, Kelly O'Hearn of the Arcanum series. 2 books are out, In the Temple Shadows and Whispers in the Forest, with the third book coming out soon.
Thanks Tricia, so much.
Yeah, thanks for being here, Kelly. Bye.
Bye.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Finding the Magic podcast. I'm your host, author and podcaster Tricia Copeland, and I love getting behind the scenes. If you like the podcast, make sure to subscribe and stop in each week to discover new authors and books. Thanks for listening, and until next time, keep finding the magic.